Ford has always been great when it comes to building full-size SUVs, and that goes for the 2025 Expedition as well. Now, for 2025, we also have this. The Tremor trim now available on the big Expedition, meaning that this is essentially a luxury apartment that they could take off-road if you wanted to. 10.6 inches of ground clearance, skid plates all underneath. We got 33-inch tall tires. This is by far the spec or trim that I would choose for my Expedition if I was in the market for one of these. So what we're going to do in this video is, of course, have a look at this brand new design that we have for the front end design with the blacked out graphics, golden accents, of course, for the Tremor package. The side view, the rear with the black graphics that I do think actually looks very cool. And we have to talk about this interior as well. I have a lot to say about this interior. Not sure it's a step forward compared to the previous generation. I'm going to let you know why. And then last but not least, of course, we're going to take this for a drive. Now, first of all, of course, let's have a look at what is under the hood. I would expect to see a V8 under here, but that is not what we get in 2025. Instead, you do have a 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6, 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque is connected to a 10-speed automatic transmission. You do have all-wheel drive, obviously, with four-wheel high, four-wheel low, four-wheel auto as well. 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 15 city, 22 highway. It can tow up to 9,600 pounds, and the price for this is $84,000, which is, of course, a lot of money for this vehicle, but it's also, as I said, it's pretty much an apartment on wheels that if you wanted to, you can take up that mountain right there if you really wanted to do that because of the Tremor package, obviously. So let's close this back down. Let's have a look at this front end design. When I first saw this, it looks very, very much like a GMC to me because we do have these lights in the front end, this C shape in the light right here. Definitely reminds me of the GMC styling that we have, but I do like the Tremor package because everything here is blacked out, as you can see. Even the Expedition badge up top looking beautiful in black right here. Big new Ford logo for 2025 with the new font blacked out there as well. And I do like that we have the silver trim right here in the middle. An interesting feature here is that you do have two light bars hiding inside of the grille. You can see them right here. We have this cover. It's covered up, but behind here you can see that we do have two light bars sticking up. We have the front-mounted camera right here. Obviously, you do have 360 camera view for this, and I like the styling overall because we have so much different textures or different surfaces going on. For example, look at this, these ridges or this sort of interesting pattern that we have going on for this black feature right here. Nice, beautiful chamfers above, framing the entire headlight unit, full LED headlights right here, and massive LED going all the way across here in the lower section, really framing the front end very, very nicely, in my opinion. And all the way down low, we have opened grills, of course, up top, fully functional right here in the middle as well. And on the sides where we have the fog light right there, and we also have a functional air intake on the sides. In addition, of course, there's golden Tremor accents right here. Golden tow hooks here, skid plates, metal, what we want to see for the engine, for the transmission, the transfer case, and also the fuel tank is all protected by metal skid plates. Now, overall, the front-end design, it does have a very nice presence to it. It looks beefy. It looks like this is something you can take anywhere and is not going to have a problem taking you wherever you need to go. Up top, we do have some nice lines in the hood as well. This line going down, connecting to this corner of the front end where it curves around here. I like that this line is connected to it. We also have this little dip in the center portion of the hood right there. Forgot to mention that inside of the grille we also have active shutters for when it needs more air. When you're pushing it on the trails, you can open those up or close those back down. Now, coming on to the side view, as I said, 10.6 inch of ground clearance, 33-inch tires, 18-inch wheels, 275mm wide tires. I do like the setup that we have. 33s, I think it actually looks pretty perfect for the proportions of the overall vehicle, and I do like the styling of the wheel itself. Of course, having this Tremor golden accent right here for one of the spokes, and thankfully they're not black. They're actually gunmetal. Look at this. It's slowly coming back, these non-black wheels for new wheels. in 2025. 275 70 sidewall with the R18 wheel. Perfect setup for me. Suspension has also been tuned a little bit for the Tremor to have it be more of an off-road setting. I do like this little graphic that we have right here of an actual Expedition inside of the window. Pretty cool little detail right there. Blacked out side mirrors right here, 360 camera again, LED for the indicator, and all the graphics going around the greenhouse itself is also blacked out. No chrome on the Tremor, not something that I want to see. We have the side step here as well with the Ford integrated in the side step as well. You can take this off if you want to, and that is probably something I would consider if I really wanted to take this on the trails, because first of all, I think it looks better with this off, and it doesn't sit that high that I feel like I personally would need a side step to jump into this. But you can see the proportions here, just how boxy this is, and it creates so much space in the interior because the roof line is all straight roof line going back. It doesn't have this dip to it. We also have a very, very straight shoulder line right here, and I do love it in this green color, specifically when you have the golden accents just popping up. For example, this new Tremor badge that we have in the lower section right there. Up top, we have a full panoramic sunroof, which you can open up for the front portion and the roof rails as well, with what looks to be an LED integrated in the roof rail itself. Pretty cool to see that. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Now, overall, the proportions of this looks proper, looks like a SUV that you can definitely take wherever you need to go. Looks rugged and definitely sets it apart with the Tremor more than I expected it to do compared to the rest of the Expedition lineup. Now, coming around to the rear end, some people say, I've heard some people say that they really don't like this black portion right here. But for me, I actually think it looks very cool. If you don't like that, just get a black Expedition Tremor and it's gonna melt into the rest of the design, obviously. But I think, I don't know, for me, I think this contrast piece with the black graphics in the top portion of the rear end looks pretty cool. And I also love the taillight design here because they have a very juicy, thick LED going right here. Not the most dynamic design, but that is totally fine. That's actually what I want to have for this vehicle, because this being the Expedition, being the big brother, we don't want to have too much styling going on. It's supposed to be boxy like this and not too static or not too dynamic of features when it comes to the lighting. In addition to that, we have these LEDs in a pretty interesting position right here by themselves. Does not have any sort of connection to what's going on in the main unit. Full LEDs, of course, you can see LEDs for the indicator right there, new Ford badge. And we have the Expedition in the back with this golden, beautiful chamfers in gold like we have for the Tremors. I also love that they hid the wipers here. So the wiper is actually hidden right underneath, under there, tucked in under there instead of having it here and ruined, otherwise very, very clean layout that we have in the back. Properly designed bumper. We have one exhaust pipes in the back. Not really integrated in the bumper, but it is sticking up right there, as you can see. And we have the parking sensors integrated in the lower section of the bumper. Now, what's cool for 2025 is now we actually have a split opening for the tailgate. Sort of like BMW did with the E53 X5. Range Rover helped them with that. And now we also have that here. So check this out. We can open up the top portion like this. Beautiful. And then we have the lower portion right here. Just click this button and boom, it goes down. Now we have 3 seats in this vehicle. Of course, this being so large that we have no problems at all fitting 3 seats here. What's interesting about these buttons here, we can fold down the second row, but it does it very aggressively. Like the Expedition is angry because you decided to just fold down the seat. I mean, check this out. Look at how violently it goes down. Boom! Just slams. Same goes for the center portion. Boom! I mean, it feels like I'm ruining the seats when they slam down like that. But as you can see, when they're all folded down, you have a ton of space. You can also, of course, raise up the third seat back here. I mean, this you can fit whatever you want in here because it's such a squared off design that you're not going to have any problems with that whatsoever. You have some lighting in here as well, and some hooks for towing, storage on the sides, 12-volt outlet right there, cigarette outlet, and a house power unit in that area as well. LEDs here. I also like that we have LEDs here, up here. So when it's dark, this LED is going to light up the entire area back here, so you're not going to have any problem seeing anything. A little bit more storage underneath this area. Not too deep, but still something that you can store whatever you want in if you need some additional space to what you already have back here. So let's fold this back up, fold that area up, and close this one back down. And we talked about the exterior design. Let me know what you think about this design. New 2025 Ford Expedition. For me personally, I don't think I would ever be in a market for these type of big body on frames SUVs. It's just a little too big for my personal taste. But if you have a massive family, if you want to be able to go camping and put a lot of stuff in the back in addition to your entire family in this vehicle, this might be something to consider. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design. Let's jump in and have a look at this interior, because that's where it gets a little tricky for me when it comes to the screen layout. So let me show you what I mean. Learn design sketching online with me. My online class is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as just a big pen and some cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Now, over the years, I've taught over thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products using my simple sketching techniques, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. You also have a lifetime access to all the videos. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. So check this out. We have a brand new interior layout for 2025. We have a 24-inch, you can't call it gauge cluster anymore, but digital screen up there with the driver information. You have a 13.2, I do believe, infotainment screen right there. And the layout that we have here is just not optimal for me. And look at the steering wheel as well. It's almost squared off. It's almost like a rectangular steering wheel. And we don't have buttons anymore. Instead, we have this haptic. You can see on the screen there, I don't know if you can see it right there, that it changes the functions of these buttons. I just want to have regular buttons. Ford, I think they went in with that a little late, because the companies that used to have that back a couple of years ago, they are actually switching back to regular buttons now because of customer complaints. So maybe that will change for Ford in the future. We do have, apologize about the Ford chime. That's just something we're gonna have to listen to while the door is open. We have the gold stitching here, very nice soft armrest. Door handle looks like, I don't know, very solid, very industrial. I do like to see that. Controls, of course, for the window controls here, unlock and lock. We have the speaker, Bang & Olufsen sound system, a bunch of cup holders and storage in the lower section. So let's jump in and let's use this side step here, because why not? And let's step in and close this door so we can get rid of this chime. So sitting in here, I feel like I literally feel like I'm inside of a room in a house. That's how much space. I can't even reach almost like halfway to the passenger window over there. So let's fire this up. We have engine start button right there. You can see fires all the way up. We have this big 24-inch screen right in front of us, which is absolutely huge. The problem I have with this screen, though, if you look at my driver position, this is my eye level right here. And you can see that the steering wheel, even though it's flat up top here, it still covers a lot of the screen. So I have to like reach forward or lean forward to see exactly what my speed is. If I sit normally like this, it's going to intrude on the speed. You can adjust the steering wheel, but it's not in the regular position. Instead, Ford had to make it very complicated and make it a button right here. So now you can see right there on the screen, if we go in and try to hit the steering wheel adjustments, we can move the steering wheel, of course, up and down like this. But then it's not going to be my optimal driving position, because I like to keep the steering wheel in this position that I had it. But when I have it in there, you see it's going to cover up the entire screen while I'm driving. Not very, very good ergonomic design for this screen and the layout for it. And also very far away. It's like all the way down here, sitting all alone in that area. It's a very, very strange integration. You can customize this portion of the screen if you want to. Not on the steering wheel, though, like you might be used to. Instead, you go in here, you see this button right here, and you have fuel economy. You can switch those up, gauges, Media, you can have whatever you want right here. Off-road settings is what I like to keep it on. It looks pretty cool with those features right there. And looking at the infotainment screen here, 13.2, you have, by the way, you do have the map right there as well. Now going in and looking at the infotainment screen in general, you have a bunch of apps in here. As you can see, probably something you're just gonna switch up one time. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is wireless, of course, in this price range. Going into the settings here, you have settings for the vehicle itself, driver assistance, whatever you want to have on here, vehicle and system settings as well, sound systems. Going back to the settings here, driver memory seat, you do that here. You don't have any memory seat settings on the door, which they could just put it right there and just make it, you know, very, very easy and traditional. Would be way easier than this. You have trail turn assist there as well. Rear climate lock, you can lock the climate settings for the rear passengers. A bunch of different settings here. Of course, you do have wireless Apple CarPlay here as well. So that is fantastic to see. The resolution for both of these screens is great. Top-notch resolution. I love the resolution of this. I just don't like the positioning of this big, massive 24-inch screen that we have up top. The vents look beautiful as well. Thankfully, they are traditionally operated. You know exactly how to operate these. Don't need to go into some fancy software to do that. All the way down here, you do have ventilated seats in 3 different levels. We can turn that on right now. Heated seats as well, 3 different levels. And you also have heated steering wheel up here, on or off. Now, all the way down here, we don't have any buttons for the climate settings. I would love to see that, as you know, just separated down here instead. It's now all integrated in the lower section right here in the software itself. You have the gear selector here. Going to reverse, gonna pop up the reverse camera, which is pretty massive. Resolution is decent as well, not too bad. You have the trajectory lines and of course the full 360 top view as well. So no problems here with the resolution. You can go in and check out a bunch of different, this more of a rabbit eye view. If you want to have that, you can see that here as well. Looking pretty cool. Going back into park, we have the gear selector here. If you go down Pikes Peaks and you want to do some engine braking, for example, you can use these gears. Volume knob right here. Some more buttons for the traction control, the camera button, the hill descent control, and also the automatic shut off for the engine and red light on and off. Expedition spelled out. This looks very, very nice. Even though this is plastic, it looks like metal, and I do like that they put the model name in here right front and center so you know exactly what it is you bought. Now, you do have a lot of storage here. This is probably the most complex center unit I think I've ever seen. You can slide it back and forth like this. Just play around with it however you want. You can cover this storage completely. If you want to cover this entire area right here, you do have, I do believe, some more storage underneath here with this floor mat, Ford Motor Company right there. And if we want to, we can cover this entire area up like this. And this is actually how I like to have it, because this gives you the most armrest room for my elbow when I'm driving. You have the trailer brake right here. You have a wireless charging pad, of course, 2 cup holders, USB-Cs, 1 old USB port. Love to see it. You can cover this up as well. We can open up this storage. You have even more storage here with this little tray that you can take out, and a massive compartment underneath here. And of course, you do have a cigarette outlet and a couple of more USB-Cs in this area right there. Beautiful to see all the connectivity that you have. Let's close this back down. Look at the seat design. Beautiful looking seats. Love again that we have the trim name embroidered into the backrest with the golden stitching here. Heated, ventilated, enough support. Very, very comfortable seats as well. Now look at the steering wheel. Not a big fan of the design of the steering wheel, because we have this, as I said, these haptic buttons. You can see when I slide my finger across this, how it changes right here. So this is for the volume. As we showed you before, you can also customize the pedals, the pedal position, or the seat, the steering wheel adjustments right there. On this side, you do have the controls for the cruise control settings. You do have blue cruise here, of course, automatic cruise control. The steering wheel has this very interesting shape that feels, to me, feels unnatural to drive this when we have almost like a squared off design like this. But I guess that's just something you get used to after a while. All the light settings for the vehicle is actually located here, similar to what I do believe Chevy is doing with their big trucks and SUVs. So you don't have a stock for the settings here. Instead, it's integrated in the software. So more and more features are being integrated in the software these days, which I'm personally not a big fan of, because it just makes things more complicated when they worked well from the start. Sometimes if it's not broken, you really don't need to fix it. Now, you do have this stock here, washer press in right there, washing the window, and you also have, of course, the indicator here, which shows you the cameras of the blind spot when you're indicating. Pretty cool to see that. I'm very surprised to see that we don't have a camera or display for the rear camera here. Instead, it's just a regular mirror. We have obviously a proper size glove box right there with this interesting pattern, which looks pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure what type of material this is. It feels like plastic, but it looks like rock. It looks very, very cool. Up top, we also have, of course, the sunroof controls here. I have it completely open right now, and of course, a place to store your shades. So with that said, let's use this solid door handle right here. Let's jump back and have a look at the second row. Obviously I'm gonna fit behind my own driving position, this being an Expedition. Not gonna have any problems whatsoever. So let's jump in here. Check out the back seats. And we do have heated seats here as well. Fan speed, climate settings for the second row. Beautiful to see that. Very nice to have that in the back. Expedition here as well. 2 cup holders, in addition to a couple of USB-Cs right there to charge your devices. So let's climb back. Let me see if I fit in the third row back here. And honestly, fold up the headrest. I have no problems at all sitting back here. I mean, I think this is probably the biggest benefit with having a big Expedition like this. It's just that the third row is actually usable. You have these buttons right here, so you can actually recline and pull it. It's very violent, these these controls for the seats in the Expedition. But if you want to chill back a little bit, you can do that back here as well. As you can see, you have 2 cup holders here, more USB-Cs to charge your devices, and look at the space. I mean, it's just a massive vehicle, this thing. And even if the third row is up, you still have pretty decent luggage space behind the third row. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design. We talked about this interior design as well. Now it's time to take this for a drive. Traction control off. Put it into sport. Drive. And let's go. There we go. 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6, 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. I really don't feel like I'm missing the V8. If anything, it would be the noise for the V8 that I would be missing, but it's not really one of those vehicles that you necessarily need to have, the big noise in the vehicle itself. The power is there, 440 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 5 seconds in a house like this. I mean, it's fine for me. I definitely do not feel like I need more than that. And we're in sport right now. Let's turn traction control back on right there, because why not? So we're cruising here in Red Rocks. Fall is coming. The temperatures are dropping. Soon we're gonna have snow. Colorado weather, it switches like that. We can have 75 one day and then a blizzard the next day, so we never really know when it's going to happen. So I'm just enjoying the sunshine and the beautiful weather for as long as I can. Now the ride quality in this vehicle is great. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything else. It's a body on frame construction. It feels like I can just drive up this big rock right here, no problems at all. It's probably not going to go very well because it's a little bit too steep, but the confidence you have in this vehicle when you're driving it, and if you're taking it on trails and stuff like that, with the 33-inch tires, it's a pretty capable off-roader. And on top of that, Ford did put in some proper protection for the vehicle. So the fuel tank, transfer case, transmission, and the engine are all covered by proper metal skid plates. So it's not just a, trim level that says Tremor and looks the part. It actually has some proper functionality behind it as well. And I mean, it's a great design. This is what I want to see for big SUVs like this. It should be, instead of having like a sloped sporty roofline or stuff like that, big SUVs like this, they should have focus on functionality over styling, and that is what this Expedition does. It's essentially a box on wheels, and right in front of me now we actually have a completely blacked out brand new Expedition. Interesting, I actually have not seen one before, but it looks pretty cool in black, I have to say that. That is not the Tremor though, but it looks very stately, very official government vehicle when you have it in black like that one. So we're gonna come out to this road. I think we're still in yeah, we're still in sport, and we don't have any paddles, which is something that to me just would not make sense to have paddles for this vehicle. Really not something I would personally use ever. But we do have a 10-speed automatic, and as I said, 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds for this type of size is pretty incredible, to be honest. So 440 horsepower from this EcoBoost is definitely enough, and you don't need more than that. It really pulls off the line as well, thanks to the four-wheel drive system that we have, putting down the power properly on the ground. And I mean, we talked about this before, but cruising in this one, you could sit in this forever, no problems at all. I mean, driving across the country if you wanted to. It is so smooth, so comfortable, and I do think that it has to do a little bit with maybe the all-terrain tires that we have on this. And it's also nice to know that you have these all-terrain tires on this vehicle. You have 18-inch wheels, you have a big fat sidewall, which, even though it's comfortable on the road, if you want to take this off-road, you know that you're not gonna get a puncture as soon as you hit a small little pebble because of the wheel and tire setup that we have here. Now, cornering in this, you can definitely, of course, feel the mass and the weight. And the ride height, 10.6 inches of ground clearance. It's not supposed to be a very sporty experience, but it's still a pretty decent, you know, it takes the corners pretty well. It's not something, I don't really have any big complaints about this vehicle, except for, I mean, my personal tastes. The sizing of this is just way, way, way too big for me. But if you're looking for a big vehicle like this, a big SUV, I mean, the Expedition is a great choice. The one thing that you're gonna have to get used to, maybe it's just my driving position, or you know, the way I like to have the steering wheel and the seats, but the biggest problem for me is going to be the gauge cluster and the positioning of it. It's such a weird position to have the gauge, the position of it up there. It just doesn't feel like it should be there. And also the steering wheel, I understand that they flattened this steering wheel because they wanted to make, you know, so you can see the gauge cluster properly, but they didn't flatten it enough, I guess, because it's still covering up a big portion of the gauge cluster itself. So I have to lean up like this to see what speed I'm actually doing, which is not the safest, and it's also not the prettiest integration of a gauge cluster, if I'm honest. However, this area here looks pretty good, even though I still want to have, of course, physical knobs and buttons for the climate settings. But, you know, I think I should just stop asking for it, because I feel like it's not gonna come back anytime soon. Or I should keep advocating for it, that we want more buttons back in the interior. I'm probably gonna say that every single time I see an integration like this. It's pretty easy to use still, you know, I mean, changing the temperature like this, but it's just, it would be way easier to just have buttons so that I can, while I'm on this curvy road here, I don't have to look down and press this warm arrow exactly on that pixel to change the temperature. Instead, I could just feel my way, dial it up like this, and I'm done. I mean, it's so much better, so much safer, and it looks much better as well to have proper buttons in this interior. So overall, the Ford Expedition, the new 2025, last 10 years or so, Ford has definitely stepped up the interior game when it comes to the quality. I mean, there used to be gaps like this between the panels. You used to have hard plastic everywhere with these weird melted cheese design to it, but now it actually looks pretty good in here, I have to say. So well done, Ford. And if you're in the market for a big SUV like this, I mean, why not go and test drive this and see what you think about it, because you're gonna be able to bring your entire family with you, in addition to anything you might wanna, put in the bag as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.